I'm sorry, we're in paddle gear. Just thought I'd get there. Just came back from a game. But this video is really the strategy to making serious wealth in property.
Yeah.
And this is like going to be the basic foundations that anyone can do as builders, people that just want to create wealth in property. And really, we're not talking about, even though this is going to end up moving into the buy-to-let,
Yeah.
This strategy really isn't about buy-to-let. They've done this over and over again. So this is a repeatable process.
It's sustainable.
And deliverable.
Obtainable.
Obtainable.
And it's simple.
And it's
super
this is simple.
It's also for anyone. So it's not just for people who are first getting into buy-to-lets. We want to, this can apply to anybody. So you could already have a portfolio of 10 houses, for example. And you could change your strategy. And we think this is a game changer.
And it doesn't need to be complicated. And what I'm saying is, really, you can go out and buy a house, but if you just do this, so if you listen a bit to the end of the video, you're going to learn all the little techniques.
And we're trying to do it quicker this time.
And we are going to do it quickly because I'm not going to ramble. So we're just going to get on it and explain.
So we're going to have one tip, basically. And
but don't tell the tip just yet.
No, right.
Before you go and buy a house that you're thinking, most people think, right, I'm going to get into property and I just want to make loads of money. Well, before you can do that, you need to do this. So don't go and buy an average vanilla property, because at the end of the day, everything you buy, there should be an immediate angle on it. I mean, that's the strategy I had. So when I thought I've got this money that I have literally worked my balls off to make, I've got one chance to spend this money and try and sort of grow, build some wealth. And so where this starts is by identifying a property where we can add value. Now, the tip is, my technique has been buying end of terrace houses.
Absolutely.
And how many have we bought?
Yeah, so there's loads of reasons why, and we're only going to cover that in this video. We've got other sites that we've bought that aren't end of terrace, and we'll go into them because they're a different sort of, slightly different approach. But for ease and accessibility to everyone, we think this is an absolute game changer.
It's a simple strategy.
So why is the end of terrace so good?
Well, the end of terrace is good because you don't pay a massive premium for an end of terrace. You might pay possibly £10,000. That would be a sort of
more.
£10,000 more. And quite often there be obstacles in your way, which I actually think is fantastic, because that means that when people like me or other people are looking for these strategies or this type of property, they tend to not realise that there's potential to possibly build another house on the end of the terrace, because if there's a garage there, if you're just flicking through Rightmove, you might just miss it. And to be honest, that's where you've got to be a bit strategic. There's no good
looking at a very obvious.
Yeah, I mean, some of the obvious ones will get picked up by agents, and the vendors might realise that they're sitting on an absolute goldmine. Really, that's not good news. You really want to find the ones the ones that just slip through the net. And my strategy would be, when you talk to the agents, you just tell them that you're looking at developing it, because they'll just start hyping it up and complicating it. You're just simply going to say, I've got some money to invest. I want to have some buy-to-let properties. So that's where it starts. So you're looking for these properties where there's possibly a garage. We have one where we had to knock quite a lump off the side of the house, and that created even more space than what was I initially realised. I actually got 2 on the end of the terrace. Now that was a seriously good deal.
Yeah.
And I bought the house at market value. So I bought it at market value. So I didn't pay massive overs for it. It's really simple. I then identified that we could,
so the best thing you want to look for is, you want to look for a house. If it's got a walkway and the garage, then you're laughing, because you're going to have a 5-metre width, which is what you need for a second unit in the UK on the regulations at the moment.
5 metres. I have built them slightly smaller.
Yeah, but
the regs are getting tighter, depending on where you are.
Current regs. So I'd say that's something.
But the next video is the strategy is going to be what you need to look out for when you're looking, when you've found an end of terrace. There's a lot of things we need to check.
But we love the end of terrace for lots of reasons.
Fantastic.
So you've got really good access to the services, because obviously they're facilitating all those houses as it is. So it's going to be cheap to tap into them. They are right there. Imagine you were trying to buy a field. I mean, you're going to have to pay.
No. You don't want to start doing things like that.
Forget the field thing. We will come on to that another time.
It's much more complicated.
Yeah, this is just, we want simple, every business that is successful is simple, and
This is just a simple strategy which
Yeah.
has seen me very, very well, and I can tell you
I
it's
think you find it's seen us.
seen us both very well. But
Gosh.
I started it before I met my wife, but actually she's come
You
along.
keep hammering that home.
No, but it was only one or two.
You might be on your own again if you keep hammering that one home.
But to be fair, I mean, there's obviously other strategies which we will show in another video. But
One of the main reasons that we love the end of terrace is because you can just get a normal buy-to-let mortgage on that property. So if you were to buy a piece of land, it'd be so difficult. A can of worms getting
you need
finance
a lot
on
more
that.
cash to start with. So if you were just looking at buying land, for example, instead of this sort of strategy, you would then have to you'd have to source the land, you'd have to source the finance. There's a lot of other complications.
Work out a lot of access points.
Whereas
end of terrace, you probably just drop the curb and drive onto the front driveway. So
I mean, obviously we'll go into all the different types of end of terrace in another one, but really the main thing is just the major benefits is that you're not really paying a lot of money for these properties.
So roughly,
you're not,
go on, give
for example, if you were to buy I mean, all our stuff is around the sort of 300 grand mark. Sort of in this area, in the southeast, is the sweet spot. You start spending much more than that, the yields are just completely.
Yeah.
You'd end up having to put so much cash in, it would just kill the deal from straight off the bat. So. Really,
so if we talk about a proper example, so say the house is £300,000, you're going to raise a mortgage of about 75% loan to value. So you're going to have to put in physical cash.
25%. Oh, physical cash. Oh, I don't know. Gosh, the mathematics. So you're going to borrow about 225,000. So you're going to
raise about 75.
Yeah, so 75 grand. Then you're going to have then you're going to have to find the stamp duty. You're going to have to pay the legals and everything. So really, really and truly, you could comfortably say this first deal, that's why you definitely going to need to
watch the first video.
Yeah, you need to watch the first video on how
you start the whole process.
Yeah, how you actually make the money in the first place. Get started, you're going to have to dig deep to find this bit of money to start with, and that is the hardest bit of this process. So once you've got the cash, you're going to be in for roughly, on a £300,000 unit, you're going to be in for about 80 odd thousand, let's say, call it.
And then you need about 10 grand to renovate it,
Which,
realistically.
You might have to do a bit of work.
You definitely want to make it up to a landlord spec, which we will have a whole list of things we would advise on that.
You've got to do.
You don't want to just be, the worst thing you want is like a tenant phoning you up. So you want to get it all oven ready, take that extra time, make it really bomb-proof. They need to be bomb-proof. And then you've started your journey, basically, which is brilliant. Guys, if you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe.
I'm hoping someone in the future is going to come back and say, Ashley, that strategy, or Ashley and Claire, the strategy, sorry, I must involve my wife, it's been amazing. It's changed my life. And
I've changed your life.
Well, you changed my life for lots of reasons.
Just force it out of him.
No, but
anyone else have these problems?
No, but please, just have a go. You've got nothing to lose, everything to gain.
So the reason that we think that you shouldn't just go into buying bog standard buy-to-let properties, which lots of people do that, is mainly because of the economic situation at the moment in the UK. It's really tough, and it's not really conducive to being a landlord. They actually want all the bloody landlords out, which is why they've introduced this Writers' Rent Reform Act. And they want to have these big organisations, controlling everything. So there is money to be made, and you do get a passive income, but the whole purpose of this video and our strategy and how we run our business is that we're adding value by ascertaining a site.
Just a bit of value, like serious value.
Yeah.
And that's really how you elevate yourself into making lots of money. And once you make a decent lump, this money that we're hoping to make on this deal that we're talking about will immediately give you the deposit to repeat the whole process again somewhere else. So that's really that's where you need to get to.
That's why it's sustainable.
It's sustainable. It's really simple. You don't get an award for making your business complicated. You just want to keep it simple. And this is a simple strategy. I mean, you could repeat this process all over the country.
And you could do it with one house. So say you had enough money and you just had enough to buy one plot, one house with room on the side, ascertain that there's space to put another unit on there. Happy days. You get the drawings drawn up, you build it, you refinance that, you've released that equity, and then you just go and repeat it, or you don't repeat it if you don't. Maybe you don't need to get a mortgage on that new one if you had the money.
There is an argument to say you could sell the land. Now that is another option with planning. So you could do exactly what we're suggesting. If you think, well, I'm not a builder, I don't know how to build a house, and I might not be able to build it cheap enough to
Yeah,
You know, and
that is also a bit
it
of
is
our silver
quite,
sauce,
yeah, I
because
mean,
we do run a
obviously,
construction company.
that's why
so,
if you're a builder,
yeah.
you should 100% be doing this, because this is like literally, you'll never work for a client again once you've done this. I'm telling you that right now.
And your life will be so much better.
You will not have to, you'll be playing paddle like me all the time. I love it. And I won today as well, which was brilliant.
Well, I didn't.
First time in ages.
We weren't playing together.
But no, poor Claire was on the other court. It didn't go quite as well. But anyway, but really, I think this is that's just like, we're just trying to really simplify, because I think there's a tendency to like get spooked. I mean, you watch other videos. We even did look to see what other people suggestions and strategies other people had, and
they're all very unobtainable, is
it's
what I
quite
say. And people say,
unobtainable.
"Oh, I made 100 million and all that."
But we're
Well,
not
that's
interested.
That's marvellous, but that's not, you know, for the average Joe. And we want our channel to be for people like us who literally started with
a zero bank balance,
and no houses and no handouts and just absolutely grafted. And we still graft now. So let me assure you, it doesn't stop. We don't really stop working. It's a 7-day job. But we have an amazing flexible life where we can spend a lot of time with our children. We can play a lot of sport. We can take on new ventures like this. So,
exactly. This is another sort of.
And you guys should do it. You should build the dream.
Yeah. Keep following this process. The principle, what we're saying really is.
Start simple.
Start
so end
simple.
of terrace, enough space for one unit. If you get two, fantastic. Even if there's a garage and
You've
you
got
knock
three on another one.
If you knock the garage down, you're only going to lose about £10,000 on the value of the property. So you're not really going to be affecting that valuation. We can come into like more technical ways that we approach things, like splitting the land before you purchase it, so that you don't upset the mortgage company. It's all completely legal.
Yeah,
so
there's
what
nothing,
we are saying is nothing dodgy.
You're not breaching any of your mortgage terms. This is the thing. A lot of things you've got to be very careful, because this is a kind of a development strategy. We're trying to create huge value and wealth, really.
Which the banks don't really like.
This is a fast track way.
With the buy-to-let.
No. So the buy-to-let, if you are looking for a buy-to-let mortgage, you do not mention that you're planning on doing anything from a building perspective, planning. They just don't. It's on a need-to-know basis with the bank. Okay, so really, what you're doing, you're not actually doing any harm, but you just don't want them thinking that you're trying to really borrow money cheaply for something that should be a development site.
And it is cheap.
And developers because
developer finance is about 10, 10, 12,
15, 20. I mean, the percentages will be.
Whereas a buy-to-let mortgage roughly is about 4.7%, give or take,
to 6%,
at the moment.
Anywhere between that. Once you start adding in all the fees, they hide their margins and profits and how they do it. You know, it's complicated, but there's ways of working that out. And actually, if you've got all the banks and you looked at all of the different rates, they're all basically the same. They're all close. Hopefully going to create this value and this wealth, and then you're able to just move on to the next project. If you were to sell the land, now the risk to that, it could be connected to the terrace, so that's an issue. The wall that's the outside of the terrace will become a sort of party wall. And if you're allowing someone to build this house, now quite often the services are all
if you're allowing someone to build them, then
if you're selling it off to somebody and they were to start building, they're going to need to come across your land to possibly brick up some windows. They might have to come in and do some work inside, so it can get quite complicated. So this strategy really works perfectly for somebody that's going to build it out themselves. So builders, this is just an absolute no-brainer. You should literally be straight on Rightmove right now. I would say.
How much do you think it costs to build a 3-bedroom house?
Well, I mean, obviously, I can't say, because I build ridiculously cheap, because we have all our own machines and we know all the tricks of the trade.
We've got very low overheads.
All builders can do this.
Because we basically do it all ourselves. So we have no staff, just Ashley and I.
Yeah.
And,
but let's just say. You know, you're an expensive builder and you build it expensive and you get all excited about it and you overspend a bit and put fancy bathrooms in when you're just looking at the making money. So let's just assume that you spent maybe 200,000. You know, there's still £100,000 of profit there. So even on a bad day, you've still got a healthy margin in this scheme.
Yeah.
And it's sort of.
So we're thinking if you were going to buy one, so imagine you were just going down the normal strategy where people think, oh, you know what, you've got your primary job, for example. So I'm not talking about builders, just normal, well, builders are normal people, but you know, some of them are.
Builders should be doing this.
But you think, right, I'm going to buy a buy-to-let because I want to create this passive income, okay? loads of people think, we get it all the time.
I'm going to buy
People
3 or
ask me,
4
I'm going to do
houses.
this, and they're going to buy a brand new Barrett's home and things like that. I mean, honestly, that is just not a good business model.
Well, that's our opinion. I mean, there's
Yeah, in
people
our
that
opinion.
people do
Well,
make
the
money.
returns are rubbish. Okay, so if you had a £300,000 house, your mortgage repayments are probably going to be roughly about
1,400, 1,450.
No.
Oh, sorry, the rent will be that.
Yeah, the rent will be about 1450, depending. This is south east of England. And the mortgage payment is about £950, £1,000 a month, something like that. Okay, then you're going to have to make provision for the tenants leaving. When they leave, you're going to probably have to gut the property. Not necessarily gut it fully, but you are going to have to redecorate it if you want to get a nice tenant the next time. Probably recarpet it. Everyone's allowed to have pets nowadays. They seem to go everywhere. So that's highly likely, or very good carpet cleaner. So there's a few expenses.
A lot of expenses.
Gas safety, if it's an old property, they have a gas boiler still. Obviously, with the air source heat pumps, you're not going to have any of that.
Smoke alarms, the energy, that's the other thing as well. If you buy a house and it's got a very low energy rating, that can push the rate up on the money that you borrow. So that's something to
That's why
consider.
we love to build it, because when we can build it very energy efficient, so that reduces the rate.
This is where builders and people that can get stuck in and do some of these jobs can really like cash in.
Yeah.
But
if you look at the money, so you're making like £400 a month max. And then you've got loads of costs coming in.
And then the boiler breaks down and you've not made anything
or
that year.
Or the tenants don't stop paying the rent or whatever like that. So, I mean, that is far and few between. If you're a great landlord, you should hopefully deserve to get good tenants. So.
And you're going to need, realistically.
So this is why you want to, this is why you want to add the unit on the side, because you've suddenly created one house. You've got two for this, maybe 10 grand more, because you may pay £10,000 more over the asking price.
It's fast. It's speeding up the process of creating. It's the value is really what we're after. The buy to let side of it is a bonus really, and don't get me wrong. I think buy to lets are fantastic because obviously you're going to get capital appreciation.
Yeah.
So that's something to consider. That's going to go up if you build them really solidly and
there's not so much maintenance.
Constantly thinking, right, I want the best boiler. I'll tell you in another video what boilers we fit, because we have a landlord spec that is literally
bomb-proof.
Absolutely bomb-proof, and I'm constantly working to make it even more bomb-proof. So
it's all that work I did at Wetherspoons all those years ago. It's come to fruition now. So.
No, but actually, for me, it's a benefit. If I make the house really, really tough, the tenant can be tough on it, and it just doesn't matter because we've factored that in, and it means they won't be phoning me up with
So you
problems.
make more profit because you've got less
it just keeps the margin. I mean, just think about it logically. If we can turn a house over and not have to spend thousands and thousands redecorating, fitting kitchens, bathrooms, tiling, floors, all the scratch glass from the dogs, all the rest of it, then that's just money we've earned, or money we've saved. Money saved is money earned, I'll tell you that. And when the margins are slim, being a landlord is challenging at the moment. You've got to...
Rachel Reeves just loves to hammer the old landlords.
It's hard, I tell you. As you build your portfolio of properties, you want to make sure every time you leave that job, you never go back again. That's it, really. You don't want to... It's like, imagine a client phoning you up saying, oh, yeah, it's a lovely bathroom, but the toilet seat's come loose. And you've got to spend... It's cost you 300 quid.
Bane of
a
your
toilet
life.
Seat coming loose. I mean, a landlord. I mean, if you're a landlord out there, how many times have you had a phone call for a toilet seat coming loose? I mean, it's just, you think the tenant will just tighten it with their fingers. I mean, that's all I end up doing. But anyway, it's your responsibility. If you're the landlord, all of their problems are your problems. So you need to make it robust.
Yeah. So when you've identified a site that you want to buy as a house, you need to check all the feasibility side of things, which again, there are lots, but just as a quick guide here, you want to check that there's space, obviously, to build another unit.
Space, exactly.
And ideally the same height of the house that you have. You don't want to just be building like a single-storey annex, really. That's not going to create as much wealth or value, obviously. And you need to just check like access requirements, check your local planning policies.
Yeah,
and
100% that.
Yeah, just basically you've got to do quite a lot of due diligence before you buy it. But you can go build your dream.
But this is relatively low risk.
Yeah.
In development terms, I think this is about as low risk as it gets. I'm not a massive risk taker. I'm a steady Eddie, really. I'm not interested in going completely crazy. But like...
he is on his toys.
Yeah.
Never stops buying toys. Why is it low? Because if
Well,
you
to
don't
say
get planning,
you don't get planning. At the end of the day, all end of terrace are the most desirable.
you've
Without
still
a
got
doubt.
an asset
So you've
that
got an
produces
asset there.
income straight away.
I would never buy something if I don't know if it won't fit.
Oh yeah,
Then I've made
yeah.
a massive mistake.
Yeah.
So we're not going to make that mistake because I'm going to tell you the size, the square footage. We're going to go through all of that another day. But you know, so there would have to be something really fundamentally
Like
wrong.
there's a massive sewer pipe running under that.
That's in the next video.
Oh.
So watch the next video and I'm going to tell you there's a lot of things.
I don't think it'll be in the next one. I think we're going to do a movement
There's a lot of
video
things about the next video, but trust me, I don't want to, the point of this, I don't want to like overwhelm you because obviously I could talk for hours about stuff and I don't want to bore you. So I want to keep your concentration. And I want you to be able to think about what we've been talking about and realize that this is fully achievable for most people. I mean, if you're not a builder, just have a go because we're going to create so much value that even if you had to contract this out to a builder who should be doing this, let me say again, but you can just pay them to do it. Yeah. And at the moment, the market is absolutely shocking at the moment. Yeah. So builders will be screaming out for this to build you a house. And
if also just one last thing I want to mention is that if you were to go down the traditional buy a property, rent it out as buy to let, you would probably need, if you're thinking you're going to have a passive income on that, realistically, you're going to need about 50,000, I would say.
Well, yeah. Depending on how much you want to earn out of it, the only way it works is on scale. We said that at the same time.
So go.
Scale.
Build the dream.
Yeah, build the dream. That's enough chatting.